morning and welcome to Miss Rogers' wonderful school. It's so wonderful to see all of you this morning. Did you have a good week? Are you having a good, wonderful morning? That's great. Look who's with me, Nurse Doll. She wants to tell me something. Oh, I'm afraid we can't do that today, doll. But don't you think we need to prepare before we do that? Yes. So Nurse Doll and I are going to prepare to wash your hands many times throughout the day, right? And don't forget, she says. Thank you, Nurse Doll. Don't forget to wash your hands. I know you won't. Bye-bye, everyone, she says. Wow. So let's begin our day with a story. And the first story today will be a story about something that we all use many times, all the time, throughout our days, throughout our lives. And this story is titled, I Know Numbers, by Taro Gomi. Let's begin. There. These numbers show the time. These numbers are on the calendar. They show the month and the days. These numbers show the temperature weight. These numbers are used to call someone. That's an old-fashioned telephone. But some of us still have telephones like that. These numbers are for choosing a TV channel. Prices are numbers too. I'll buy this one, please. What is he deciding to buy? This number is the size. Will it fit? What number is the sweater? What size is that? I think I see the number. Can you say that number? Can you read that number? Show where buses go. Numbers help us understand the rules of the road. And numbers show the distance. Numbers are on buildings, so mail carriers can deliver mail. This building is 3615. 3,600. Sometimes numbers replace names. Hockey game, any sports activity, there are numbers on the back of your seats. And numbers tell us the score. We use numbers to play games. We use numbers to do 6 equals 4 times 2 equals 8, 3 times 5 equals 15, and so on and so on. Numbers are on pages too. So later on, when we're doing our read-along story together, you can look at the number on the pages of the book. I Know Numbers by Taro Gomi. So, wow. So now I think it's time for our special word of the day. Now, if you have your sketchbooks with you and your markers or your pencils, why don't you just see if you can copy the letters that will make up our word of the day. Now, a special note. In our upcoming shows, we're going to start practicing writing letters and numbers. I'll tell you more about that later. But for right now, you'll just do a little practice. So, let us begin. La 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 la. That's our new original theme song for Miss Rogers' Wonderful School. And soon we'll have lyrics too. I thought you might like that. Okay, the first letter of our word of the day is the letter L. These are lowercase letters. L, O, do you want to take a guess as to what the word just might be? Here's our next letter, the letter S, L, O, S. And the final letter of our word of the day is the letter T. Lost. What does it mean about what it means to be lost? And what does being lost mean to you? Take a moment and talk about that word with your parents or then one meaning. I'm thinking of a couple of meanings for the word lost. Can you say that with me? Lost. And lost won't be the word lost unless you really enunciate the last letter of the word, which is T. We really must hear the T sound or else it'll just be los, los. But we want it to be lost, lost. Can you do lost? Can children get lost? Do grown-ups ever get lost? Do grown-ups lose their way? Can they? Of your family car, wearing your seatbelt or your safety seat, and your parents pull up along the side of the road and they pull out a map. I could have brought a map with me today. I forgot. Next time. And you'll say, Mom, Dad, what are you doing? They'll say, oh, I'm looking at this map because I need, and if you have a map at home, parents, bring it out. I need to look for directions to find the way to where we need to go because I've lost the way. Remember in the book Numbers we just read? In it, we found out that numbers can tell us the rules of the road. And when you're driving, or when your parents are driving down the road, they need to be able to read and understand those numbers and understand the numbers on a map so that they can find their way and get their families to where they need to go. Another way of getting lost is if you're playing in a park and you just get lost in your thoughts and you forgot that your mother or your father said, oh, stay here. If you want to go over to the swing, wait for me and let's go together. But you just got lost in your thoughts and you thought, oh, the swing, there it is, there it is. And you run over to the swing and when you get there, where's Mommy? Where's Daddy? Oh, where's my caregiver? And for a moment, you're lost. But your parents and your caregivers are watching you. And so they go over to where you are. And so you're not really lost. But that's a good reason for always listening with your hearing ears. And also, you know, later on at Miss Rogers' Wonderful School, we're going to find out how we can listen with our eyes and read with our ears and see with our ears. But that's for another time. That's why it's always good to be listening and paying attention so you won't lose your way. Now, the last way of thinking about the word lost that I'm going to share with you today, and that I want you to think about today as well, is just getting lost in one's imagination. Because we all need to do that sometimes. We as children, because as adults, there's always the little child inside of us that is always alive in us. And we have to always take a moment to get lost in our imagination when we're doing our work, to think about our work. If you are a doctor and you're trying to figure out how to diagnose a problem of your patient, and sometimes you have to engage or use your imagination or wonder about all the possibilities, how the body parts are working together or how they're not working together. Even if you're doing your drawing work, you have to take some time, close your eyes, and wonder. Just let yourself get lost in your imagination. You're wondering, I wonder which color I should use. And you might visualize or imagine how all those colors might mix together before you put your pencil or your marker on the paper. And so it's very important to get lost sometimes in our imagination and our thoughts, but it's always just as important to find our way back. And that will lead us to another word, which we'll talk about more next week. I'll just give you a hint. The word is focus. That's focusing. When we have to find our way back to our original thought, we've got to go back there, find our way back, and focus so that we can get the job done or find our way to our destination. Wow. I love the word lost. So, what I'd like to do now is I want you to show me how you became lost in your imagination with your drawings that you were supposed to complete for me last week. So during this time, I want you to take out your drawings, and I'm going to take out a few things to show you as well. Okay? Okay. Do you have them? If you don't, that's okay too. If you don't, just take out a piece of paper and your markers, and you can just start over again. Okay, we'll do a little review of what we talked about last week. I'm just going to move our word of the day board over just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so remember how I showed you this drawing? And I asked you all if you would do a drawing of your whole bodies with your face and your body. Remember? And the reason I wanted you to do that is and we made 4 circles. Oops, I forgot to fill in one of my circles. Let's see if you can see everything. And I asked you to make a drawing of your thrilling face. I'm thrilled that you're all here at Miss Rogers' Wonderful School today. I'm just thrilled. And your happy face, happy is just, it's just not as intense as thrilled, but you're happy. You might have a smile on your face, right? Can I see your happy face that you drew? If you did? If you didn't, you can draw one right now while we're talking about it. And remember, we made our circle for the word sad, S-A-D, our sad face. You see, I drew in my sad face. And sometimes with your sad face, you might also have a tear. I forgot to draw in my angry face. Let's do that together. Maybe you did yours, but I didn't. So just give me a moment. I'm going to get my marker. And I'm going to draw my angry face. Because all feelings, remember feelings was our word of the week last week, and we had our second word of the week last week, which was change. And we discussed how feelings can change. Sometimes as quickly as you can snap your finger, and other times feelings might take a long time to change in the same way that day changes into night. My angry face. Let's see. Okay. I think if I'm angry, I won't be smiling. So that means I won't be showing you my smile with my teeth. I may have an upside down mouth, like that. And sad eyes, angry. Sometimes when you're angry, you cry, you know? Now, do you remember how we discussed things we are having? And remember, for me, I told you that I like the color pink, and pink could mean that my heart is feeling happy or I'm feeling very happy. And we said that sometimes red can represent 2 feelings, a feeling of love. Pink can also represent that feeling. You can mix them together. So, feeling of love, or sometimes red can also represent anger, like fire, and strength. Anger, and then when we let it out, it's all we're feeling better and our feelings can change. But sometimes letting it out, we have to use our words and not our hands or fists. We have to discuss or talk about what's troubling us. So much better than holding all those feelings inside, or just not sharing the feelings with our words and just lashing out and hitting our friends. Hitting is never nice. It never feels good. Remember how we said that the color blue can represent feeling sad. But also, blue can represent, just all of these colors can represent very beautiful and wonderful things, because I don't know if you remember us reading the story, A Rainbow of My Own. And remember the little boy who was the main character of the story? We can also call him a protagonist, but that's a big word. We'll call him the main character. He asked himself, if I were a rainbow, where would I hide? And he said, a garden, of course, because the garden has all the colors of the rainbow. And just like our feelings can be represented by all of these colors, all of these same colors that represent all the feelings that we have in our hearts and in our bodies, they're also the colors that we see in a rainbow, in the beautiful sky, the color of the sun, the color of flowers. So we said here that green can represent maybe feeling jealousy or envy. And that word means that sometimes you might be playing with a friend and that friend has something that you want to play with, but it's not your turn to play with it. So instead of snatching it from your friend, you could say, excuse me, may I have a turn with that when you're finished with it? Now your friend, as I said before, could say, I don't want to right now because I'm not finished with it. But when I'm finished with it, you can have a turn. But your friend might say, I don't think I'm going to be finished with it today. The next time I see you, you can play with it. And you know, that's okay. That's a time for you to go, make a choice, and find something else that you can play with or engage with or wonder about. Okay, so I asked you, once you, made a picture of your body, to sad in your heart, or you could feel blue, and that blue, that sadness, whatever you feel inside, it oftentimes manifests or shows up on your face. Isn't that funny? The whole body is connected. Even all our feelings are connected to different parts of our bodies. That's an amazing thing to wonder about. And it is true. So why don't you take a moment to think about where you can feel all these colors, or what you're feeling just right now today. How are you feeling today? You know? Think about that. And when you're done, you can show me. And if you don't finish today, oh, I saw a smiling face. I saw a very happy smile. How are you feeling happy today? Are you also feeling happy in your face with a smile on your face? I can see a smile on your face. Oh, that's wonderful. You know what? Your smiles are making my heart smile with lots of pink. Oh, wow. So, while you're finishing up with that, I would just like to tell you what I'd like for you to do For next week, I would like for you to make a paper doll out of a drawing of your body. So let's see, if you take a look at this drawing of Miss Rogers, next week I want you to do another drawing of yourself, and then I want you, with scissors that fit your hand, to cut out the drawing of your body and your face, okay? That's what and then I'd like for you to color it using the colors that we talked about, or even you, all right? And before we end this segment of our day at Miss Rogers' Wonderful School, I would just like to tell all of you parents and caregivers that I think next week what we're going to do is to talk about and maybe begin making a calendar out of, it's good if you have a piece of what we call oak tag paper, which is somewhat stiff. So if you don't have all the materials for next week, what I will do is show you, I'll model it for you next week, and then you can start working on it on your own during the following week, and then we can start using it together. So next week, don't worry about having materials or having a completed calendar. Miss Rogers will bring a calendar that she will make, and I'll show you how I made it so that you can start working on your very own, and then we'll start using it. Okay? How does that sound? Good? Terrific. Now, I think I hear a song. I think it's time for us to stand up, put our markers down, put our sketchbooks away, and stand up. And let's get the wiggles out of our fingers and the wiggles out of our toes and our bodies. Shall we? I think we should. I think we shall. Okay, my friends, let's put our thumbs together first. Let's go up the water spout like the little spider, shall we? Here we go. If you're unable to do, Itsy Bitsy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the Itsy Bitsy Spider went up the spout again. Very nice. Shall we do it twice? Yes! Thumbs together. Here we go. Here we go. The Itsy Bitsy Spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the Itsy Bitsy Spider went up the spout again. Very, very nice. Okay, so let's just stomp our feet. Stomp our feet. Okay. La 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 bamba, la 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 bamba, la 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 bamba, la la bamba. Come on. La la bamba, la la bamba, la la bamba, la 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 bamba, la 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 bamba, la 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 bamba, la la bamba, la la bamba. Come on. La la bamba, la la bamba, la la bamba. I love you, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love you, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love you, yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, I love you, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love you, yeah, yeah. And a love like that, you know you should be mine. Oh yeah. And a love like that, you know you could be mine. Oh yeah. And a love like that, you know you should be mine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love you, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love you, yeah, 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 yeah. Woo! All right. So, I think that now we're going to move on to another story. Now, I'm going to move things around a little bit. I was going to do our classic story right now, but I think we'll do our read-along story right now, and we'll end with our classic story because our classic story, I think, will get you in the mood for nap time. So, if you have a copy of Little Bear's Friend by Else Holmelund Minarik, with pictures by Maurice Sendak, you may read along. Otherwise, just listen. The first story is titled Little Bear and Emily. Little Bear and Emily. Little Bear sat in the top of a high tree. He looked all about him at the wide, wide world. He saw the green hills, he saw the river, and far, far away, he saw the blue sea. He saw the tops of trees, he saw his own house, he saw his mother bear. He could hear the wind sing, and he could feel the wind on his fur, on his eyes, on his little black nose. He shut his eyes and let the wind brush him. He opened his eyes and saw two little squirrels. "Play with us," they said. "No time," said Little Bear. "I have to go home for lunch." "We can fly." "I can too," said Little Bear. "But I always fly down. I can't fly up or sideways." He climbed down some more, Little Bear. "I have to go home for lunch." He climbed all the way down, and there he said, "I think I am lost," said the little girl. "Could you see the river from the treetop?" "Oh, yes," said Little Bear. "I could see the river. Do you live there?" "Yes," said the little girl. "My name is Emily, and this is my doll, Lucy." "Have some," Thank you. I love cookies. So do I, said Emily. They walked along, eating cookies and talking, and soon they came to the river. I see our tent, said Emily. And I hear my mother calling, said Little Bear. I have to go home for lunch. Goodbye, Emily. Goodbye, Little Bear. Come back and play with me. I will, said Little Bear. Little Bear went skipping home. He hugged Mother Bear and said, Do you know what I just did? What did you just do, Little Bear? I climbed to a treetop and I saw the wide world. I climbed down again and I saw 2 squirrels, 4 little birds, and a little green worm. Then I climbed all the way down. And what do you think I saw? What did you see? I saw a little girl named Emily. She was lost, so I helped her to get home. And now I have a new friend. Who do you think it is? Who do you think Little Bear's new friend is? Can you tell me? Yes. The little green worm, said Mother Bear. Little Bear laughed. No, he said. It is Emily. Emily and I are friends. Pictures by Maurice Sendak. She also wrote the series of short stories entitled Little Bear. Oh, wow. Did you notice or discover any words or numbers that we talked about earlier at Miss Rogers' wonderful school today? You can talk about that later with your parents or your caregivers. I seem to remember seeing the word lost. And I think that Emily experienced having a momentary technical difficulty, but I think we're back. So there we go. And so now we're going to begin Good Night Moon by Margaret Wise Brown. Pictures. Yeah. Okay, let's begin. And if you know it, you may read along with me. In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs. And 2 little kittens and a pair of mittens. And a comb and a brush and a bowl full of mush. And a quiet old lady who was whispering, hush. Good night, moon. Good night, cow, jumping over the moon. Good night, light, and the red balloon. Good night, bears. Good night, chairs. Good night, kittens. And good night, mittens. Oops. Good night, clocks. And good night, socks. Good night, little house. And good night, mouse. Good night, comb. And good night, brush. Good night, nobody. Good night, mush. And good night to the old lady whispering, hush. Good night, stars. Good night, air. Good night, noises everywhere. I think that in many ways, Goodnight Moon might be one of our very early I Spy books. So the next time you have a moment and you're looking at the book with your parents or your caregivers, why don't you play a game of I Spy? What can you find in all of those pictures? The author, Margaret Wise Brown, through the storytelling, she is directing your eyes to some of the images and objects that you can discover in the pictures. Spy when you read Goodnight Moon. And it was its 50th anniversary. Last day was L-O-S-T, lost. And we reviewed how colors can represent feelings. And we shared our drawings from last week. And what you're going to do for next week is make another drawing of your body, cut it out like a paper doll. And you're going to draw your colors of how you're feeling in all the different parts of your body when you finish cutting out that paper doll. And so, oh my gosh, it's been wonderful spending time with all of you today at my wonderful school. So I'd like to wish you all a very wonderful afternoon and an even nicer tomorrow. Bye-bye now.